Welcome to Chapter 1. This is my overview and a quick overview of this chapter, as I'll do for every chapter and make available to you. This is just a primer, more or less, for this chapter, and then, again, it will repeat. Take these as just that, a way to prime your thoughts, and I'm going to highlight some areas of interest that I think you might want to pay attention to, and that you can use for every chapter. But this is no substitute for reading the chapter that you'll want to do to make sure you're fully versed in the conversation. Anyway, this is chapter 1, good place to start, and it's what is org behavior. I went a little fast there. We can see, as you can see, there are a number of learning objectives and things like that. And you'll also notice that in the PowerPoints that I've provided, there are speaker notes. That's a great way to read through the chapter because you have those notes as well. And I mentioned that in an earlier video about reading these first. And so this should be helpful to you. So, demonstrate the importance of interpersonal skills in the workplace. This is critical. The reason we study org behavior, and really the only reason we study org behavior, is not so much, and I understand that people come from different backgrounds, different motivations when they take this course. You may have just taken it because you wanted to take something that was of interest to you or an area that you wanted to know more about, which is great. There are a variety of reasons. I guess from a organizational standpoint, the reason managers and others study org behavior is as a means to an end, meaning we are looking for competitive advantage. So the more effective the group of people working for us, with us, among us, the better off we're all going to be, because we more or less exist in a competitive environment. Now, if you're in a non-competitive environment, let's say you work for the government or you work for a school system or something to that effect, believe it or not, you are in competition in some way, shape, or form. It wasn't that long ago that, as an example, the post office enjoyed a monopoly, shall we say. Now, I don't know if you followed this, but they've had to actually close some post offices, and this will continue to happen because the world has changed, and it will continue to change. And the more choices people are given, whether it's about mailing letters, different ways to do it, whether technology intervenes, whether it's about education, and the choices there are going to continue to increase and abound, we are wise to make the most of the assets that we have in our people and the way our organizations are designed, because they are not all created equal. Some work better than others, which is part of the reason why you do a project and you analyze your organization, because we're looking to make an optimal decisions about the who, the what, the when, and the where concerning how things get done, whether it be operationally, leadership-wise, whether we have to meet a budget, create a budget, staff people, get the right people in the right spots, recruit people. There's all sorts of reasons why the behavior of an organization is, and your understanding of it is critical. The other reason why, and this is kind of steps outside of interpersonal skills, is it may make you a more effective manager if you're aware of some of the science behind it and the research, what works and doesn't work, and some of the things that might seem to make you feel good, or you might instinctively say it's all common sense, really is not. And managing people and getting organizations or groups of people to work together is not an easy task. And ultimately, those organizations that are able to adapt to change and take advantage of those changes are those that succeed and grow and survive over the long term. Those that are not able to adapt go away. They fail to compete or be competitive or offer something of value. They disappear. And even the government is starting to find this out slowly but surely. They're being dragged into the competitive world. And we're going to see, and the pendulum swims back and forth a little bit about privatization and things like that, but it makes too much sense too often for even the our friends in the government to ignore. So, and this is for your own good as well to understand this, because I think you want to be in a situation where you can maximize your talents. Not everybody does well in every system of employment or organizational design. Some are, just to have two extremes, are function very well in a bureaucracy and love it. Other people are repelled by that and find it a grinding experience. Some people, on the other hand, love a highly dynamic and fast-changing workplace where there are few rules and things are moving along at a rapid pace, and adaptability is at a premium. For others, though, that would make their head explode and they would not prosper in that sort of an environment. So org behavior should help you. So study this with an open mind and as a means to an end. We're looking for optimality and a way to make our organizations function at a high level. So managers' roles and things, like a lot of boilerplate stuff, meaning it just gives you the basic outline. Chapter 1 is a basic outline of everything. You know, managers' roles and functions. The book is not a difficult read. In fact, it's kind of a fun read. Great examples in there. I'll point some of these out to you as we move along here and go through different chapters. But there's a lot to drink in, and don't be shy about rereading things for that matter. Skills. All of these skills are necessary, and some more than others at different times and in different situations. So effective versus successful managers. What this really deals with is effective managers are those that really actually get things done. You know, they're effective for the organization. Successful managers, they can't make the contrast that those are the ones that succeed personally. So you can see the contrast here between average managers, successful, and effective. Where do they spend their time? And what are they doing? We want managers in a global sense to help organizations, to help us be more competitive, to do a better job, to be more successful. So organizational success may come at the expense of personal success. And just watch this. This is a great illustration. And this has to do with attitudes, maturity. There's a lot of things mixed into this. And this is a behavior science, so we can't ignore human nature in this. We ignore human nature at our peril. And that's silly to do, and it is not human nature typically is not a good thing. If left to our own devices, a lot of bad stuff can happen. People are flawed. You know, they may mean well, but in the right set of circumstances, larceny resides in everyone's heart. So we have to be careful and not, you know, be too pie in the sky in regard to how people behave at work and or outside of work, for that matter. So there's some definitions. I'm going to skip through, pick up a little speed here. Some definitions. You know, we have evidence-based, intuition, gut feelings. Not a good system, gut feelings. I mean, gut feelings work over time because they are based in experience. But it's some of those things can be very prejudiced in the sense that we are products of our environments, and they may not fit in every situation. So it's an applied science. We want to make application. That's what's critical. These are the areas of, or the disciplines that are contributors to the study of org behavior, and hopefully contribute some good things. But it's an ongoing study because social systems, customs, mores, all these things change over time. Some of this is just reading. You can read those for yourself. There are a few absolutes. These contingency variables, meaning situational factors, make a difference. It depends is a really good answer to a lot of questions. Well, what am I going to do in this situation? Well, it depends. Who's got the power? Who am I working for a powerful boss? Am I new? Do I understand the industry? Do I have experience? There's a lot of contingency variables. So that answer is not a bad one. But what does it depend upon is where you come in as an expert, or at least someone that's trained in this, say, well, here's what it depends upon. Here are the critical factors that are going to influence the way things are going to behave. So a few absolutes is just, there's different cultures. We're looking at the U.S. culture, and we're holding that up to the light and making a study. And we're not going to apologize for that. We probably have the most successful culture in the world. At least I'm not going to apologize for that. But not everybody that comes here adapts to the culture quickly. It may take a couple of generations, but there are cultural differences, and culture is just a habit. I'll talk about that more later, but we'll hammer away at that. Opportunities, challenges. There's a lot of challenges. There's daily challenges. If any of you manage people, you'll know it's a challenge. Globalization, without a doubt, the world continues to get smaller, and we can become more interdependent, and that makes it much more difficult over time. Diversity, we'll talk about that. Again, this is a broad overview. I'm going to pick up a little speed here. Improving people skills, innovation and change. Not all industries want innovation and change. Economic factors about temporary employees, part-time employees, huge factor. Networking or networked organizations. Information technology, fundamental changes in the marketplace. Work-life conflicts. Positive work environments. It's pretty hard to create a positive work environment on the kill floor at Morels, where we're killing pigs and turning them into bacon, ham, and sausage. All the things that we need and like, somebody's got to do it. That's a pretty tough environment to talk about job enrichment. But everything swings back and forth. There are extremes in all areas. But to be aware that not everything we're going to talk about is going to apply everywhere is something to keep in mind, at least. Inputs, output processes. This is this book's model. This is a great model. It's simple to understand. You have inputs, individual level, group, organizational, processes, rules, regulations, people's inclinations, and then outputs, outcomes. What happens? There might be unintended consequences from an idea that was formerly a good idea, well-intentioned, but guess what? It doesn't work. And there are millions of those out there. And I'll let you dive through this. I'm going to skip, I think, to the end. Group functions, productivity, that's the key. That's what we're after in a lot of senses in org behavior, is more output per employee, because that is what keeps us competitive, and that's what leads to survival organizationally. Here's the layout of the book. As you can see, we've got it divided up a little bit different than this. Not quite as linear, but it'll make sense as we do it. Managerial summary. Make sure you read these carefully over and over again so you understand the takeaways. You might even want to make a list of these for yourself in your own digital library, so you know what you've learned. You can refer back to it. Say, aha, I remember reading that, seeing that at some point in time. You never know when you're going to need it. Okay, thanks very much. And again, don't forget to read the chapters.